At 7 in the morning, the alarm clock rings through the small kitchen of Desert Palm Apartments. With practiced movements, I switch on the coffee maker while opening Emily's lunchbox. Today it's a ham and cheese sandwich, her favorite. "Emily, are you up? I've ironed your uniform." While waiting for my 8-year-old daughter's response, I make scrambled eggs. As the yellow eggs sizzle in the pan, Tom emerges from the bedroom. "Good morning." When I turn at Tom's voice, I notice his work clothes looking a size smaller than before. His sturdy build from 15 years at the construction site had been our family's pride. But lately, I push the thought away and focus on preparing breakfast. "Morning, Papa." Emily, dressed in her uniform, runs up and clings to Tom's arm. But this morning, instead of lifting her high as he usually would, my husband just wearily pats her head. I set out breakfast for 3 at the kitchen table. Scrambled eggs, toast, and bacon. It's a simple breakfast, but eating together is our daily ritual. At the Fry's food store checkout, I occasionally check my smartphone, concerned about messages from Emily's school. Since the new term started, something about my daughter has changed. Though still cheerful, she shows moments of anxiety more often. My part-time job until 3 p.m., 5 days a week, is essential for living in this city. Combined with my husband's income, we should have had a stable, if modest, life. "Tom doing okay lately?" In the break room, my colleague Jane asks with concern. Her husband works with mine, so she must have noticed the changes in Tom. "Yes, he's just busy with work." Though I answered smoothly, I too felt uneasy. Late night returns. Cash disappearing from his wallet. And his increasingly gaunt frame. My once gentle husband had started exploding with irritation over trivial matters. For Emily's sake, I whisper to myself while working the register. I must focus on the job at hand. Still, my prayers for my family's happiness couldn't change the fate that awaited us. At 2 in the morning that night, my phone rings in the darkness. My heart leaps at the unfamiliar number on the screen. "Mrs. Watson. This is Brown from Banner University Medical Center. I apologize, but this is an emergency call." I feel my spine freeze instinctively. Since becoming a parent, late-night calls have always felt like harbingers of bad news. Tom's recent strange behavior only intensifies my worry. Has something happened? I can't tell if the words reaching my ears are reality or nightmare. "Your husband, Tom Watson, has been brought in. We're told there was an accident at the construction site." The doctor's voice seems to fade away. Accident. It takes me several seconds to comprehend that word's meaning. My husband, accident. Could you please come to the hospital urgently? While hurriedly changing, I look at Emily sleeping beside me. I can't wake her at this hour. I call the Browns next door, our only reliable neighbors in this city. "Betty, don't worry. We'll take care of Emily." Sarah's gentle voice brings tears to my eyes. I quickly lift Emily, still sleeping, and wrap her in a blanket. "Mama." Emily, Mama needs to go out for a while. Stay with Aunt Sarah, okay? Phoenix nights are surprisingly cold in winter. Sitting in the car seat, I catch a faint smell of cigarettes from the worn leather. Tom had recently started smoking again. He hadn't touched a cigarette in 5 years since quitting. That was another of his changes. Driving down the street with its intermittent streetlights, I think back. When did Tom start acting strange? The overtime and late returns began around fall. Weekend work increased too. But rather than increasing, his pace seemed to be decreasing. Starting the car engine, I clutch my phone with trembling hands. The hospital fluorescent lights seem unnaturally bright. At the emergency room reception, after giving my husband's name, a young nurse guides me to the treatment room. "Thank you for waiting, Mrs. Watson." A middle-aged doctor in a white coat faces me with a tired expression. "Your husband's condition is stable. Fortunately, his injuries aren't severe." As I breathe a sigh of relief, the doctor continues. "However, Mrs. Watson, there's something about your husband's body we need you to verify." Yes, he has tattoos on his arms. My husband's tattoos were a hobby from before he became a construction worker. Various patterns cover his arms, but I know them all. He hasn't gotten any new ones since we married. We found a new one on his chest. When the doctor pulls back the sheet, my breathing stops. The treatment room's clinical light illuminates my husband's upper body in a pale blue. His once muscular chest has clearly wasted away. I can see his ribs protruding. Seeing this dramatic weight loss with my own eyes, not just as numbers, sends a shiver through me. And on that thin chest, an unfamiliar memory was etched. On my husband's left chest, above his heart, is a vivid red tattoo. The letters S.K and T.W with the date 2024.12 below. And around it, countless dots, needle marks. My eyes desperately try to deny this reality. This is. Words won't come out. The unknown initials carved into my husband's chest cruelly expose a side of him I never knew. Walking down the emergency room corridor, I struggle to accept reality. Then I hear a commotion from the adjacent treatment room. "Please calm down." At the nurse's voice, I instinctively stop. The treatment room door opens, revealing a young woman thrashing on a stretcher. On her chest, I catch a familiar pattern. T.W and S.K. The same design. The same needle marks. And on her arm, the date 2024.12. My hands shaking, I take out my phone. I need to report this to the police. As the doctor's face fills with surprise, I dial with trembling fingers. Phoenix Police Department. My husband and evidence of drug use, and what appears to be his mistress. My words come out broken. Several medical staff had already begun gathering in the hallway. Your location. Banner University Medical Center, emergency room. As soon as I hang up, police officers arrive. I later learn this is part of the hospital's security protocol, with officers always on standby. Please tell us the details of the situation. A uniformed officer addresses me in a calm voice. Beside him, another officer begins checking the treatment room. Events were starting to move rapidly. My husband's unknown life was about to be revealed. The officers act efficiently. One requests backup on the radio while another gathers information from hospital staff. I lean against the wall, watching the scene in a daze. In my mind, the morning kitchen scene keeps replaying. Emily clinging to her father. Him tiredly patting her head. To think that was our last ordinary morning, intense nausea wells up. "Ma'am, are you all right?" A nurse hurries over with concern. I manage to force a smile and nod. I can't faint now. I need to think about Emily. But how am I going to explain this to my daughter? As these thoughts swirl in my mind, more police officers gather in the emergency room hallway. A long night was just beginning. Several hours had passed since the emergency room events. Thanks to the police officer's swift response, I was escorted to the Phoenix Police Department before dawn. Sarah Brown continues to look after Emily. "It's okay, Betty. You do what you need to do right now." Her words still echo in my ears. Inside the station, night shift officers busily come and go. After spending several hours in a rest room, formal questioning finally begins at 7 a.m. The interrogation room is smaller than I imagined, a space enclosed by gray walls. Detective Parker, a female officer, sits across from me. "Well, Mrs. Watson. First, let me confirm the relationship between your husband and the suspect." I grip the paper coffee cup with trembling hands. In these 5 hours, my world has turned upside down. My husband has worked at construction sites for 15 years. He was a serious man, devoted to his family. My words catch. Was that really true? Recently, my husband had seemed like a different person. The rapid weight loss, irritability, and late-night returns. All the uncomfortable signs are starting to make sense now. When did you become aware of his relationship with Sarah King? I shake my head at the unfamiliar name. In that moment, the image of the young woman at the hospital flashes through my mind. The blood drains from my face. SK. Everything starts connecting. Ms. King is a clerical worker at your husband's workplace. According to testimony, their relationship began 6 months ago. It started with casual workplace conversations, gradually becoming more intimate. Detective Parker carefully chooses her words while observing my reactions. 6 months ago. That's exactly when Tom's behavior started changing. The overtime increased, he started coming home late. Money began disappearing from his wallet. The drug use appears to have started through Ms. King. She had a history of prior use. Evidence photos are laid out on the desk. Syringes, small bags of white powder, and bundles of cash. Fragments of an unfamiliar world telling the story of my husband's new life. The total amount of debt currently identified is approximately $75,000. This breaks down to $45,000 from consumer finance companies, $20,000 borrowed from acquaintances, and Detective Parker pauses momentarily. $10,000 in credit card cash advances. I stare wide-eyed at these numbers. For us, who struggle with the monthly $2,000 mortgage payment, just thinking about such debt makes me dizzy. Emily's college account. When I ask in a trembling voice, Detective Parker's expression clouds briefly. It's already been closed, according to last month's records. Then I understood everything. The $8,000 we had been slowly saving for our daughter's future. Money we had diligently set aside each month, dreaming of her college education. My husband had used that up too. In the afternoon, I finally could go to Emily at the Browns' house. Creating a smile in front of Emily was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Papa won't be able to come home for a while because of work. In the Browns' living room, I lie to my daughter. I can't find words to explain this reality to an 8-year-old child. Drug addiction, infidelity, debt. Emily wouldn't even understand the meaning of these words. When will he come back? He'll come back when work is done, right? Emily's innocent questions squeeze my heart. How could yesterday's ordinary life feel so distant now? Mama doesn't know either. Behind me, the phone call with my parents continues. Sarah Brown is explaining the situation on my behalf. I'll take the first flight out. Should arrive by tomorrow morning. My mother's voice leaks from the receiver. But even my parents' support feels overwhelming right now. The whispered neighborhood gossip. Last night's ambulance and police vehicles. And surely the newspapers and local news will report this incident. What should I do to protect my daughter? Hey, Mama. Papa still loves me, right? Emily's sudden question nearly brings tears to my eyes. Children's intuition is sharp. Maybe she senses in her own way that something is wrong. Of course. Papa loves Emily very much. At least that much isn't a lie. Surely. Returning home in the evening, the familiar room looks different. A daily life built entirely on falsehoods. With trembling hands, I begin searching through my husband's documents. I find the bank book in his work clothes pocket. From a different bank than our main one. The history shows unfamiliar store names. Late-night ATM withdrawals. Payments at unknown bars. And unnaturally large payments at pharmacies. Everything matches Detective Parker's explanation. My husband's phone is password protected. But entering Emily's birthday easily unlocks it. It doesn't take long to find the name S.K. in the message history. Can we meet tonight? The usual place. Running low on drugs. Do something. Need money. Meet at the ATM. I can't live without you. With each message I read, I see more of my husband's unknown face. The photo folder contains intimate images with an unfamiliar woman. A young, glamorous blonde woman. The woman I saw at the hospital no longer bore even a trace of that image. The last thing I checked was my husband's workplace. I'm sorry, Mrs. Watson. We had noticed the changes in Tom's work attitude. The site supervisor's voice on the phone sounds apologetic. His lateness and absences increased, and his concentration on site clearly declined. We had received reports from colleagues, but what about Sarah King? She's a clerical worker who joined 2 years ago. She hasn't shown up for work since yesterday either. Actually, there were issues with her work attitude as well. All the evidence points to the same truth. In a world unknown to me, my husband had been living another life. On Monday, a week after the incident, I was back at the police station. Detective Parker spreads new documents on her desk. While my parents watch Emily, I need to know all the truth. Ms. King has given us a full statement. Your husband has been transferred to a rehabilitation facility. I lean forward instinctively. After the accident, Tom was arrested following a brief hospital examination. Since then, I hadn't been able to see him or understand the situation clearly. In addition to drug addiction treatment, he needs treatment for minor work-related injuries. Currently, he's participating in a rehabilitation program at the state facility. Detective Parker begins quietly. Her voice reveals hesitation about the content she's about to share. It started as just workplace conversation. About a year after Ms. King was assigned to the office, your husband noticed her looking unwell in the break room and showed concern. I nod silently. That's like Tom. His kindness in not being able to ignore people was his strong point. Or was even that just an act? Ms. King was using drugs at the time. According to her testimony, they discussed the fatigue and pain from construction work, and she suggested a way to feel better. It started with painkillers. Gradually, it changed to stronger drugs. Feel good makes fatigue disappear. Lured by such words, Tom stepped into a bottomless swamp. Their relationship became intimate about 2 months later. It's likely he was unable to make sound judgments due to the drug influence. His salary disappeared into drug purchases, with loans covering the shortfall. First consumer loans, then loan sharks. And finally, he touched Emily's college fund. His relationship with Ms. King. Detective Parker pauses momentarily to choose her words. Was quite dependent. The drug addiction and dependency on her seemed to work together. Message history, ATM records, hotel receipts. All the evidence supported these words. Tom had chosen destructive pleasure over a peaceful life with his family. The next day, I visited a law office. A female divorce lawyer my mother found through internet research. With clear evidence of drug use and infidelity, the divorce proceedings should go smoothly. Attorney Jones explains the situation in a calm voice. Looking at the documents on the desk, I'm once again confronting this reality. Regarding custody, you'll almost certainly be granted it under current circumstances. Future visitation rights will be considered depending on your husband's progress in the rehabilitation program. My chest tightens thinking about Emily's future. But this is the best choice. I can't let my daughter see a father lost to drugs and infidelity. A letter has arrived from your husband through the facility. Attorney Jones pulls out an envelope. A note indicates facility staff have reviewed the contents. Would you like to read it? I hesitate briefly but accept the envelope. In Tom's messy handwriting, words of apology are strung together. How he lost his mind under the influence of drugs, betrayed his family, and regrets using up Emily's college funds. The rehabilitation program takes at least 6 months. Contact will be restricted during that time. Regarding the financial aspects, I open the household account book I brought. Part-time salary, mortgage, living expenses. Each time I face the numbers, I feel the weight of reality. Is it possible to switch to full-time? I've discussed it with work. It's possible from next month. Then we should be able to secure basic living expenses. We'll also claim child support, though that will depend on your husband's rehabilitation status. While filling out the necessary forms, I strengthened my resolve. Leave this city and start a new life. For Emily's sake. In a room of our old apartment, I pack household items into cardboard boxes. It's strange how 8 years of memories can fit so easily into boxes. Mama, what about this? Emily is holding last year's family Christmas photo. A memento from when everything was still normal. Let's take it with us. The smiles in the photo now feel like they're from a distant past. Full-time work has been arranged, and I've found a new apartment. It's near my parents' home, and Emily's new school has been decided. Everything is progressing more smoothly than expected. Emily, your new school is lovely. I'm sure you'll make friends quickly. I speak cheerfully to my daughter's worried expression. Her father suddenly disappeared from her life. It will surely take a long time to heal that wound. Do I have to say goodbye to everyone at Desert View Elementary? Yes, but we can visit sometimes. Ending our life in this city was necessary for our new beginning. To escape from debt collectors and neighborhood gossip. While folding Emily's uniform, I strengthen my resolve. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning. The night our moving date was set, I was rereading the letter from the facility while packing the last of our belongings. Betty, Emily. I've done something unforgivable. I succumbed to the power of drugs and betrayed my beloved family. I'm now seriously committed to rehabilitation. Hoping for the day you might forgive me. Putting the letter at the bottom of a cardboard box, I heave a deep sigh. Even if I can't forgive him, he too has begun his own battle. Summer sunlight streams through the window of our new apartment. 6 months have passed since moving, and this room is gradually taking on the colors of our life. Emily's photos from her new school hang on the walls, and the scent of morning coffee wafts from the kitchen. Mama, I finished my homework. Emily shows a satisfied expression at the living room table. 3 months after transferring schools, confidence has returned to my daughter's face, which had initially been anxious. Well done. While changing into my supermarket manager's uniform, I stroke my daughter's hair. The switch to full-time work has been busier than imagined, but the salary is nearly double what it was before. Monthly income of $3,500. With this, we can somehow manage our new life. Grandma's coming to pick you up. Yes. She said she'd take me to the library today. Moving closer to my parents' home has made it easier to receive their support. My mother especially often visits on weekday afternoons. On Emily's desk lies a letter from the facility. Every month, like clockwork, correspondence arrives from her father. The contents are checked by facility counselors, leaving only words that won't hurt my daughter. Visiting permission was granted 6 months after the rehabilitation program began. In the state rehabilitation facility's visiting room, I faced Tom, who was thinner but had a calmer expression. In his facility uniform, he no longer bore any resemblance to the construction worker he once was. The program continues for another 3 months. Tom's voice was quiet. He says the battle against drug temptation continues. What about Sarah King? I heard she's been moved to a different program. I won't see her again. His words seemed truthful. According to facility staff, Tom's attitude toward rehabilitation is sincere. Along with drug dependency counseling, he's also progressing with rehabilitation for his construction site injury. Can I see Emily? I can't answer that question yet. It will take more time to restore broken trust. Right now, I want to prioritize Emily's new life. Leaving the facility, I wondered. Is this the end, or the beginning of a new chapter? Tom's rehabilitation program was progressing steadily. 3 counseling sessions per week, group therapy for overcoming drug dependency, and rehabilitation for his construction accident. His letters detail his daily efforts and regrets. I'm participating in the facility's work program to repay the debts. Though the salary is small, I want to gradually restore Emily's college funds. Indeed, small transfers had begun last month. $500 monthly. Perhaps too small a step to restore lost trust. But I understood this was his utmost effort at atonement. Sarah King had been transferred to a women's rehabilitation facility. Her drug addiction was severe, and complete rehabilitation would take more time. With no family visiting, she continues her lonely battle. I'll never see Ms. King again. It wasn't just the drugs I was dependent on. My dependency on her also led to my downfall. According to the counselor, Tom is beginning to understand the essence of his actions. Drugs and infidelity. These 2 dependencies robbed him of sound judgment. The facility staff show relatively optimistic evaluations about his rehabilitation prospects. In particular, his thoughts of family seem to be a major motivation for his recovery. Still, complete restoration of trust will take much more time. For now, we can only move forward one step at a time in our separate places. Perhaps that's all we can do right now.